Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. Liftoff.
What is up, guys? Hunter Klein here, bringing you this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. We have a lot to talk about this week. It's been a good week. It's been a very good week in a very interesting way. All right. I'll note that it's been the best week I've had since moving to Austin, and the most eventful, exciting, also strenuous week I've had in many, many months. In a very interesting way, though. And I'll talk about it near the end of the podcast once we wrap things up. But essentially, we are getting our gusto back. We are getting our gusto back, friends. We found it. Okay, things have been rough. They have been real rough. And I've been very transparent about the process. How bad things have been, how rough things are. But we are making some big moves, some high risk, high reward moves. And why not, friends? Sometimes I doubt the decisions I'm going to be making. I doubt if I can make it happen, if it's possible. And then I think to myself, we are on a ball of dust floating through a huge, empty, vast area of space. Why not take a couple risks, huh? We're young. We can make something happen. Let's go for it. And we'll talk about that a little more. First off, I have to tell you all that I had a crackhead steal a head of lettuce from me at the grocery store. Last Tuesday of last week, a crackhead in a grocery store electric cart stole my head of lettuce. Now, here's what happened. Okay, I'm walking out of the grocery store with 2 bags. If you guys don't know, I go to the grocery store about twice a week and essentially buy the same foods both times. My grocery list consists of hamburger meat, chicken breasts, lettuce, some type of dressing, and then some types of sugar for post-workout, whether that be sour gummy worms, which I need to cut back on. It's getting a bit much. Or grapes, which I freeze and enjoy because they're the greatest snack on earth. So I'm walking out with my lettuce and all my goods, one of my 2 grocery trips of the week, and the bag breaks. Okay? And as in the bag breaks and everything falls out. You know, that classic moment in the movie where, you know, a romantic couple is formed in this moment of distress where someone comes up, "Oh, do you need some help with that lettuce?" Unfortunately, I didn't have a beautiful woman that was going to become my future wife walk up and help me. I had a crackhead, I'm almost positive he was on some type of drug, roll up in an electric vehicle that he took from, I guess, the parking lot or inside the grocery store. And he was just spewing random stuff. Now, here is the cue. Here's the cue that some drugs were at play here. And you all know what I'm talking about. When you run into a guy who is talking as if someone is listening, but no one is around. This guy, he scoots up to me on the scooter, and he's already midway through a story about how his wife is pissed at him, right? The conversation has been directed at me. I am now the receiver of the story, but he already started before, and no one is within 20 yards of this guy. Okay? So, red flag, right? Something is at play. Now, he has someone to focus on. You know these guys. You know those type of people out there. Those people that are right on the edge that you really want to avoid eye contact with or any sort of engagement with because you know they are going to go all in on you. They have nothing to lose, and you have everything to lose. That anxiety in that moment where you see someone and you know you want to avoid eye contact with them or any sort of contact at all because you know that they have nothing to lose. Well, I was wrapped in, unfortunately, without any decision of mine. So I drop my lettuce. Crackhead comes in mid-story, talking to himself. I now become the receiver of this story, and unfortunately, these heads of lettuce, as that bag broke, rolled quite far. Now he picks up one of the heads of lettuce and says, "Here, take my cart," which is very nice of the guy, very kind, very thoughtful. Again, I have nothing against the man. You do what you want with your life. But he picks up the lettuce, and at this point, I want out. I want out. I do not want to interact with this man. Again, he has nothing to lose. Anything can happen at any moment, and I want out. I want to get to my car as soon as possible. So I scrounge up everything and just am continuously trying to bat this guy away pretty much. "No, I don't need your help. I'm good. Thank you. I don't need the cart. Awesome. Thanks for the help." And I get out. Now, like I said, at one point he picked up a head of lettuce, and I was so adamant about getting out of that conversation quickly that I never retrieved that head of lettuce. I didn't even remember that he grabbed it. I was so flustered in that moment and was so frantic to get to my car. But in that moment, I didn't even realize that I was missing one of my lettuce heads until I got home and realized that this guy made off with it. Now, I am so curious what this man did with that head of lettuce, and part of me hopes that he sat in that electric cart in that parking lot of the HEB and opened that bad boy up and just went to town. Nothing would make me happier than to see a picture of a homeless man eating a head of lettuce in an electric cart in that parking lot. Was I mad? No, it was like $3. I don't really care. But it was an interesting dynamic. So yeah, there's that. As far as news, guys, we have to talk about the billionaire space race this week. You know how near and dear these conversations are to my heart. Anything that involves humans getting to space, humans going interplanetary, these monkeys becoming interplanetary, aka interplanetary monkeys, there you go, is very exciting to me, and I think is way more valuable than a majority of people realize. Right now, it seems pointless and dumb. We have COVID, we have discrimination and gender inequality and all these problems on Earth. But when we look at the very broad, deep perspective of things, right? If we pull our lens back of what humans need to worry about, one of them is getting off of Earth. We need to expand. I know this is way too far in the future, and most of us have bills to pay and families to feed and relationships to mend, so it's not that big of a deal for us. But luckily, I have nothing going on in my life. I have a job that's A-okay, but other than that, I don't really have much to worry about at the moment, so I can float and drift about these large ideas that are most likely irrelevant to me in my lifetime. Anyway, what do we have going on here? We have the wealthiest humans on Earth, fascinated with space, and having a little ego battle, I assume, about who can get to space first, who can commercialize space, who can make the most money off of getting humans to explore the galaxy. Okay? Now, while there may be selfish reasons behind these major companies, let's say the three men, right? The three major companies, SpaceX and Elon Musk, Blue Origin and Jeff Bezos, and Virgin Galactic and whoever owns that. While there may be egotistical drive in monetary gain and selfish reasons for these guys trying to explore space and go up to space and build rockets, ultimately, competition breeds innovation. And innovation in the world of space travel has been lacking in the past couple decades. We got to the moon, and it was good from there. Okay, the only thing pushing space travel forward, space technology, is the military. Until this point, it was solely the military. Okay? And we can talk about that a little more. My point here is that this is what we need, friends. You can hate on Jeff Bezos and you can meme his crazy rich laugh. Did you guys see his laugh when he came down? What on the earth? Okay? Insanity and success, or insanity, what's the phrase? Insanity and genius are next door neighbors and they share sugar, friends. Okay? Obviously, the guy's not straight-minded. Obviously, he's a little wonky in the head, and it's very transparent from that laugh that he squealed out when he got out of that rocket ship. It was actually pretty interesting. It was memed as the richest laugh ever, which isn't too surprising as me. But again, this is what we need, guys. Okay, this innovation, this competition. I don't care what the reasons are. Again, the only thing I really care about is the outcome and the positives that can come out of it. It's on the same vein as people hating on Elon Musk for how he runs his company. Sure. Yeah, he is a little questionable with how he backs up cryptocurrencies and maybe makes some people poor as a result, or scams people out of their money, or he is super egotistical and wants to be the man and wants to be all over the media. Fine, okay. Yeah, some of those things I don't agree with. I'm not the biggest fan. But Elon Musk, the things he's done for the species as a whole, the competition he's created in the electric car market, the amount of impact this man has had on the longevity of the human species in regards to renewable energy is huge. And it's hard for me to overlook that. You can call me an Elon Musk fanboy, but I don't really think that's the case. I think the case is, and no matter what we're dealing with in these businesses and these wealthy people and how they spend their money, the only thing I care about is the ultimate outcome hundreds, thousands of years down the road for the human species. So that's why when I look at something like this billionaire space race, I see positives. I'm happy about it. I don't really care what goes on behind the scenes, what kind of pictures and DMs these guys are floating to each other to flex their money or their progress in their space travel. I don't care. The only thing I see here in this billionaire space race is commercial flight becoming cheaper and cheaper. Because Blue Origin, SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, whoever it might be, wants to provide the cheapest space flight, wants to create the best rockets so they can make the most money. And this is what we need. This is what we need. I think it's important to note that the journey to the moon, the last period in human history where we had a lot of innovation in the world of space travel, was purely because of egotistical reasons. The U.S. is the best, so we're going to get the moon and plant our damn flag. We're going to plant our damn flag first. Okay? And that's exactly what drives these things. Again, we're humans. I've talked about this many times. We like to think that we're the most intelligent thing on Earth and the world revolves around us, because it essentially does. And that's okay. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm the center of my universe. You're the center of yours. You should live it accordingly. But we are very dumb. Relative to what? Relative to how smart we think we are. Okay? The fact that we have a dick sizing competition about who can get to space the fastest, who can get to the moon the first, is hilarious. It's hilarious, but ultimately it pushes us in a good direction. Can you imagine being an alien life form coming to... There's been a lot of talk in the news the last couple of years about aliens visiting. Can you imagine being an alien on a spaceship that's able to travel across the galaxy in a ship, first of all? So that gives us some sign of intelligence. And coming to Earth and just peering in a couple windows of some houses, seeing a pretty heavy-set guy lay on his couch with a beer on his gut, with Skittles in his right hand, shoveling, watching porn on his television, watching two naked people have sex in front of him. Can you imagine? Can you imagine coming down here and just seeing humans compete over who can get to this little small round ball they call a moon, barely outside of the Earth? Okay? The point here is that we're silly, we're dumb. But the positive is Why I'm very excited about this is because we're moving in the right direction. Okay, it is very, very important. Long-term human success. For this success, it is very important that humans get off Earth. I know this is crazy. I know this is far out, but that is the absolute truth. Okay, whether it's in the next 1,000 years, whether it's in the next 10,000 years, we need to expand out of one planet. And we will. We certainly will. It's just a matter of when that will happen and how we can incentivize that to happen, or how we can push that. Again, this isn't really relevant to our lives. This isn't going to be something that changes the course of history in the next 100 years. But as far as the human species and going forward, it's a positive thing. Now, I don't know why I'm so passionate about this topic. Right there. In the last 30 seconds, I say this is irrelevant to us. And I don't know why I get goosebumps when I see space launches, because of the weight it holds for the future of humanity. Obviously, it's cool, but I won't experience it. It'll be absolutely irrelevant to me. And at the end of my 100 years here, 80 years, hopefully 80, let's not go any lower here. At the end of my 80-year life, it won't matter. But I don't know. It's just something to be excited about. It's something. It is the greatest story ever told. And yeah, my place in that story is a snap. It's a blink of an eye. But the fact that we are a part of this, and we can project it and think about it and be excited for it, is really, really cool to me. Really, really cool to me. So the billionaire space race, shine on, friends. There is very few other things. I don't want to say that. I'm happy with how the richest men on Earth spend their money. I'm happy that they're spending it on space travel. Yeah, you could argue maybe they need to create more equality with their wealth. And I'm not exactly sure if they do. I'm not exactly sure how this would work. And I'm not exactly sure how I feel on this entire topic. Okay, it is pretty crazy how much money some of these guys have and how they cut corners to get that money. But staying on topic here, I am relatively happy about how the wealthy men on Earth are spending their money right now. Okay. And I think that's something to be proud of. Something that might be relatable here and make this more tangible for a lot of us is that one day we will be asking our family, do you want to go to Disney World? Or do you want to go to space for vacation this year? And that is because of these innovations. Right? And the experience of space, even just looking out at space, is very, very powerful, and I think would have a sizable impact on humanity as a whole. Okay? We spend a lot of time looking down at our feet and into our phones, and not enough time looking into the stars. Okay? An interesting thing here is that as humans have advanced, okay, just a small little weird tangent I'm going to go on off this topic. There is something about standing out in a clear night sky and looking up at the stars and just seeing a almost infinite amount of dots in the sky. You focus on one area and it's like you really focus in on one specific, square inch of your field of view. And all of a sudden you see 1,000 more stars in that little chunk. I hope you all have experienced this. But this holds extreme value and weight. Right? Our human mind is opened by this. It has a profound impact on us, on me personally. But that experience is being lost, right? As we advance human societies, as we create cities, as we throw lights on every road, the sky becomes more black. The ambient sounds become drowned out by cars and trains and airplanes. And we lose sight. We lose those experiences. We lose sight of how crazy our place in the universe is. Okay. So again, coming back to this conversation, these news stories, these huge eventful experiences and journeys that are being taken and broadcasted across the internet, I think are so important for humans because, again, it's a reminder of where we're at and how crazy and beautiful this life is, regardless of our position in it, regardless of the dice we were rolled, the genetic lottery, the family lottery, right? The ups and downs of life, so on and so forth. Okay. Okay. I want to keep talking about this. I want to keep diving into this space talk. Something interesting that is happening to me as I get older is, guys, I'm feeling it happen year by year. I'm losing my pizzazz. I'm losing my curiosity. I'm becoming more stubborn. And it's almost as if life is beating down on me and I can just feel the calluses forming. I feel as if I'm not asking as many questions as I used to. I'm not Googling as much as I used to. I don't value information as much as I used to. And I don't know why that is. I do not know why that is. This process of being in the world of the real world of jobs and commitments and requirements and sales and commission, I think is destroying my curiosity a bit. It's hammering me down. It's doling me out. And this is something I want to get rid of a bit. There's something about being in this field of education for the last 6 years that had me in such a different mindset. I was always constantly learning, constantly asking more questions. And I do miss that life quite a bit. Not because of the hours I worked or the type of work I was doing, but because of the mindset I was in. Life has become more dull. It really has. And as a result, I have become more dull myself. And the question is, how do we stay curious? How do we get those sparks of inspiration and questioning where we go down a Google rabbit hole and learn about the beautiful world we're on? I'm not sure. It's almost as if it has to be incentivized. Right? You have to be in the right setting for it. Because at this time in my life, more often than not, I'm coming home so tired I don't want to do anything but chill out. Which is a relatively weak mindset, I believe. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Now, speaking of life, the last couple of weeks, the hardships, the doling, the beating down. I'll say it one last time. The last couple months have been terrible. We have not been happy. Probably the least happy we've been in a long time. But something has happened. Okay. Life has pushed me so far back into a corner over the last couple months. Has beaten me down so much, has gotten me so tired. Keyword here is tired. That I have been doing, exploring, taking steps that I would have never taken previously. Right? And I am now in a position where I am going to take probably, I would say maybe even take that to easily, the biggest risk of my life. Okay? In the next week, I'm going to be having some difficult conversations. Stepping away from things that I don't enjoy that much in my life, that are not as good. And I'm going to be taking a leap. I'm going to be creating. I'm going to be living a life more under my control. Being my own boss. And just living life. Starting my journey, creating and being the showrunner. And damn. Here's the interesting part of this conversation. I don't want to say too much information. I don't want to be too exact. I don't want to be too precise because things have not started yet and it's an interesting situation. The ball has not been turned. Okay. Next week, I will be more specific with what is exactly going on. But what I can say is this, and I've already said too much. Again, we're going to be having some difficult conversations, and we're going to be setting ourselves up in the next 2 or 3 weeks for creation, for what we always do. I'm thinking about the path I'm on right now, this idea of kind of taking a huge risk, starting something my own. And it feels so on brand. It feels so right. Whether it be the podcast, whether it be an organization at my college. This is something that I've always done. And I don't mean to be egotistical. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal. I don't think it's good nor bad. It's just in pattern with me. Okay. This idea of creating, taking risks, and trying to do our own thing. The reason I bring this up is because it reinforces the decision, the path I am about to step onto is the right one. Now, there are tons of risks. Risks here mainly being, am I going to be able to put food on my table? Am I going to be able to have a roof over my head? And we're taking the necessary steps to make sure that this is the case, to make sure that we have some armor on us. But what I can tell you is for the first time in months, I am excited. Okay. I have a very high level of stress in a very positive way. Okay. It's not the kind of stress that beats you down and makes you question life. It's the kind of stress that gets you excited, that makes you want to push forward. And this is where we want to be, this red line, okay? This optimal level of stress where you're not having panic attacks, but you're not chilling. This is where we're at in life, and it's in a very positive way, okay? I am going to take control. Last week, I told you I was going to fix this. I didn't know I was going to fix it like this, but it happened, okay? And this is what we continually talk about on the podcast is the benefits that come out of being at your lowest points. Okay, when you are pushed to the absolute edge, the growth, the innovation that happens in those moments, the extremes you will go to make your life better. And could not be more excited. It was the most wild turn of events. I went from one day absolutely bummed out, struggling, questioning whether or not I made the right decision to come down to Austin, not even questioning, proclaiming that I made the wrong decision, to being joyous and excited to wake up, to being excited about the fact that I'm in Austin, excited where I'm at, excited about the future. And it could not have happened without me being at some of the lowest points I've ever been in my life. So now, what? Are we thankful? Yes. Do we wish it would have not happened? I don't know. I'm glad we're here. And we're just going to be creating. Again, the same thing that we've always done. We're going to be creating. Again, it is the riskiest thing I've ever done in my life because it has, I don't know. I don't know if it's the riskiest thing I've ever done in my life. I think moving to Arizona with $0 was the riskiest thing I've ever done. But this is going to be out there, family. This is going to be out there. And I'm very, very excited to talk about this next week. What's going to be happening. What's going on. So stay tuned. The next couple weeks will be an exciting but stressful time of my life. This week's going to be hard. Having some difficult conversations with people that need to happen. Okay, those type of difficult conversations that you run through hundreds of times in your head the weeks coming up to them. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Think about different ways you're going to say certain things. What should be the main point? How am I going to go about this? And then you get in that room and everything's scratched. And you don't use a single idea that you ran through before. So that's kind of where we're at. Okay. Ultimately, we're doing good. We're doing so much better, and I could not be more happy with the progress we've made mentally. We're back. Okay, and that's why the podcast this week is going to be called The Comeback. Because we are back. We are back to ourselves. We are back creating. We are back to excitement and drive and leaps and chances. And we'll see what happens here. We'll see where life takes us. Who knows, family? Who knows? Okay? Okay. Last thing before I go, I was talking to a friend this week about all of this. Kind of in my corner as I was going through this, talking through ideas with him. And he said to me, it's very interesting to me that you act from this, that you did something with this. You know, most people would be in that job that they hate and just sit there for months and months and years and just face the music. Now, I'm not saying this again. I don't want to be egotistical. I just think there's value here. I highly suggest, if you're in these positions, if you're not happy with where you're at, that you try to get out, okay? This idea that hard times build champions, or I don't quit, or what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I think a lot of these are bullshit when they're not inside the gym or on a sports field. Okay? Or maybe waking up at 6 a.m. to change your life. What I'm trying to say here is that these are not applicable to life. Okay? I don't think they're applicable to being unhappy with a job. And the reason I say this is because this is something I battled with. The first couple months here, waking up at 4 a.m., working till 7:30 for almost damn near like $0. I was making more than that, but that's what it felt like. I kept telling myself, this is going to build character. Meanwhile, I hated my life. Meanwhile, I was in a race to get to sleep so I could wake up and do something that I wasn't really enjoying. It was not good. Okay? And there's no way I could have sat in that. There's no way I could have sat there and just be like, no, this is life. We're just going to trudge through. There's no way I could keep bitching and moaning and just being out of it in the podcast every week. So I hope that if you're in a position like this, you don't hang on to these phrases that your motivational Instagram coach gives you. These phrases you see online. Yeah, there are certain points in life where you need to power through. Okay? Where the struggle does create character. But there's a certain type of struggle that's good for you. There's a certain type of stress that is good for you. Okay? Right? And I think it's easier than not to recognize that. Okay? Follow your gut. If you're in a bad spot and you have the option to get out, if you believe you can get out, go for it. Again, remember where we are, friends. Remember where we are. Remember how funny and hilarious this human experience is. As big and as real and as important as we may feel sometimes, as nervous as we might get stepping onto a stage to give a talk about marine biology, at the end of the day, we are a snap. We are a small snap of time, a blink of an eye on a small piece of dust and a very small corner of a huge, dark universe with fucking fireballs flaming around and universes exploding and being destroyed by black holes. Go for it, family. Go for it. Relax a little bit. Laugh at how funny this all is. And take some goddamn chances, okay? Get yourself out. Be happy, whatever it may be. Make sure you can put food into your body. Take care of yourselves. And let's get after it, okay? Okay, been a really weird, interesting episode today. I didn't expect to talk about space so much and for everything to be so focused on it. But again, perspective is important, guys. And I think the universal perspective is hugely valuable. It has been in my life, and it helps me take a lot of chances and do what I want to. Okay? So if you're in a low right now, family, I hope you are battling. I hope you're battling. I hope you're trying to find motivation to climb out. Again, when you get pushed down to those low points, there is value to be had. Okay, people don't always grab it. People don't always take advantage of it, but there is value to be had, motivation to be had, and changes to be made. So hopefully you're finding those. If you're on the top, guys, enjoy it. Enjoy it. You deserve it. You will come down eventually, but enjoy it, all right? All righty. That's it for this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. This is Hunter Klein, and you'll hear from me next week. Big updates on life next week. Peace, peace.